What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. A key national security funding package has become the latest flashpoint between Taiwan's ruling and opposition parties, with billions of dollars on the line. The funds are meant to pay for drones and Coast Guard ships. But as Chris Gordon reports, the opposition is accusing the cabinet of pulling a fast one.
$5 billion in national security funds are at stake as the ruling Democratic Progressive Party asks the opposition Kuomintang and Taiwan People's Party to approve the money. The $5 billion is part of a special budget act put forward by the cabinet rather than a normal budget bill. It was submitted in April amid concerns about how U.S. tariffs might affect Taiwan's economy and society, although those tariffs are now in a 90-day pause. The package in full totals over $13 billion, covering not just national security, but also labor and health insurance and support for industry and employment. But the two biggest and most controversial parts are the $5 billion allocated for defense and the more than $3 billion in subsidies for Taiwan's struggling power utility. Now, the ruling party says that the national security funds will pay for new air and sea drones, more patrol ships for the Coast Guard, a thermal and infrared camera system along the coastline to catch smaller boats, and cybersecurity upgrades. The DPP says this money is necessary given the increased aggression and gray zone tactics used by China against Taiwan, particularly at sea.
去年当海巡跟中国的渔民发生擦撞，不是很多人 包含在野党立委都在检讨说，海军你为什么没有给每个弟兄配备密录器？为什么没有给他们更好的装备？这都不是想要，而是必要。所以也要拜托国人朋友们一起来支持行政院的规划。
The opposition has criticized this $5 billion, saying it should go through the normal defense budget process, rather than being part of this special budget which, they say, was meant to deal with U.S. tariffs. They also say the money lacks transparency, with the cabinet giving no line-by-line list of how it will be spent. The opposition has proposed instead to use that money to give direct cash payments to every citizen, essentially stimulus money. Now, there's about a month left of negotiation time before the special budget moves on to its next phase. But unless a deal is reached, the opposition, which has a majority in the legislature, is likely to pass their version of the package. Chris Ma and Chris Gorin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he has not made a final decision on whether to strike Iran.
I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, because things change. I mean, especially with war. Things change with war. It can go from one extreme to the other.
Trump's latest comments come 2 days after he posted a warning on social media calling on Iranians to evacuate Tehran. Many of the Iranian capital's 10 million residents have since evacuated. Meanwhile, Israel and Iran have continued to launch missiles at each other, with Israeli Air Force confirming on Thursday morning a new wave of airstrikes. Pharmacists are angry at a rule change they say could put patients taking traditional medicines at risk. As soon as late July, it will be easier to get a license to sell herbal and other traditional drugs, but pharmacists say the new system is far from rigorous and risks letting unqualified people into the profession. John Van Triest has more.
These pharmacists are deeply unhappy with health officials and even calling on some by name to resign. They worry if the government doesn't change course, people could be harmed. At issue are traditional medicines. These often herb-based treatments are popular in Taiwan and regulated. The government wants to boost the dwindling number of traditional medicine shops by making it easier to get into the business, with less stringent licensing from as soon as next month. But traditional druggists must be licensed pharmacists, nothing less. Otherwise, unqualified people could make dangerous mistakes. Today, these pharmacists have tried persuading officials in charge of government ethics that making it easier to get into traditional medicine violates laws on medications and pharmacists. It's the 7th time they've tried to stop the change. And they hope this time will be different, as they still don't see officials taking them seriously.
药师工会也一直希望可以跟他协商，但看起来卫福部高高在上，从来没有要跟药师工会协商。 所以今天我们才到监察院来做陈情，希望监察院监察委员可以主持正义。
These pharmacists say that traditional drugs are still drugs, and that only those with the proper certification should be handling and selling them.
这部分也是我们很坚持的说，不管要怎么样中药发展，重点还是要经过药师国考，确认他的专业能力。
But there is another side to this debate, one that sees what many in Taiwan would call an essential service disappearing, partly driven out by the rise of rival traditional medical clinics that take public health insurance. Projections show the number of traditional drugstores expected to crater from a little over 7,000 now to a little over 3,000 in the coming decade. Some in the field even see less stringent requirements as a positive.
我们认为此举不仅有助于扩大专业人力资源以及补足产业人力缺口，亦可提升从业人员整体的素质及服务的能量。
Taiwan is a place where many view ancient treatments as equally valid as those that go through clinical trials and come from modern labs. People will keep buying and taking traditional remedies, and so this argument over who is qualified to prescribe and sell them is one with serious implications. And the Pharmacists Union says it won't back down for the protection of consumers, meaning this is an argument that could burn on for some time. Luffy Li and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is the guest of honor at Korea's largest book fair, which kicked off yesterday in Seoul. Within its pavilion, Taiwan is showcasing its literature, culture, and history, hoping to help more people get to know Taiwan. Keda's Quaranta was there.
Sounds of Taiwanese daigi inside a packed convention center in Seoul. This Taiwanese band helping to kick off Taiwan's pavilion at Korea's largest book fair. Taiwan is the book fair's guest of honor, meaning it's been given a large space right at the entrance to showcase its literature and culture. One of its central goals, to allow more people to get to know Taiwan.
文学、漫画跟绘本，其实最能够呈现台湾的文化的一面。那我觉得所以这也是对我个人来讲是一次文学的造山运动，也是一次让全世界看到台湾的一次机会。因为一部纪录片讲说看不见的国家，那事实上我们透过文化交流，透过各种运动，像半导体等等，我们其实被全世界都看到。那这一次，我们再一次让全世界看到台湾。
Inside, over 500 Taiwanese books, some translated into Korean, organized into 6 distinct areas, each exploring a different aspect of Taiwan. Its food, its lifestyle, and in this area, its history. This timeline introducing Taiwan's past, which organizers say is similar in some ways to Korea's. Japanese colonial rule over both countries ended 80 years ago, following Japan's defeat in World War II.
那最后呢，回头看这80年，就台湾跟韩国的发展真的是那个亦步亦趋啊。希望这个区域能够让韩国观众来看，能感受到一种共感，历史的共感。
The space also introduces one of Taiwan's largest religious pilgrimages in honor of the sea goddess Mazu, as well as its indigenous and queer literature, with an interactive incentive to visit the entire area.
Each visitor to the Taiwan Pavilion gets this passport. And once they visit one of the 6 areas, they can stamp their passport. And once they get 6 stamps, they might be able to win a prize.
Its overall theme, Taiwan sensibility, derived from a hashtag used by some Korean people on social media when posting photos of Taiwan, reportedly meant to convey the sense of nostalgia or warmth they feel when visiting the country. This wall displaying photos posted with that hashtag.
他们喜欢这种台湾的生活方式，其实我们觉得很平常的，比如说我们常看到台湾以前很喜欢做铁窗啦，或者是我们在这种公寓前面有一排的这个摩托车啦，或是一些花盆等等，这个都是我们觉得非常稀松平常的一些情境，但对他们来讲，就是他们喜欢的一种台湾非常感性的东西。
The pavilion is also hosting cultural events, giving out Taiwanese snacks, and holding talks with Taiwanese authors, 23 of which came with the pavilion's organizers to Seoul to share their work, including this artist, known for his online comics.
我觉得这是一个很棒的机会，就是推广自己的作品给韩国的读者。当然，因为我的作品还没有翻译成韩文，我觉得可能效果有限啊。但是它还是一个很好的机会，让韩国读者可以直接看到漫画家的图像作品。
Many publishing companies from Taiwan are also here, hoping to introduce their work to their Korean counterparts. This publisher hoping to advertise this comic book, among others.
那他现在到现在已经卖了7国的版权，所以我们在亚洲这边韩国想要主力推就是这本《盐铁花》，这样希望可以踏足韩国的市场。
It's a chance, organizers say, for Taiwan's publishing industry to broaden its collaboration with publishers in Korea, and for Korean people to learn more about Taiwan as a whole. The pavilion packed with Korean visitors, each with different takeaways and reasons for being here.
I'm interested in queer-friendly culture, and as one of my friends told so, I already have a kind of a badge related to Taiwanese queer pride or something, and it is really interesting that there's a lot of rainbow flags, around here. So it feels like, okay, this is the world where the queer pride would exist with proud. Not like Korea.
I'm a big fan of Chun Soo-ho, and I'm very excited to meet him because I really want to talk and listen here about the books and his life. Yeah.
Her favorite book, one that describes life in Taiwan.
It is the life in Taiwan, so it is very similar with Korea, so I was very touched.
So, for 5 days at the Seoul International Book Fair, Taiwan's literature, culture, and history is in the spotlight, with the hope of deepening interest and understanding of Taiwan's story and to spread its art and words far beyond its borders. Scott Huang and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
Japan's former First Lady Abe Akie is in Taiwan, partnering with a Japanese nonprofit for a special educational experience. As Irene Lin reports, they aim to facilitate cultural exchanges for children of all ages and nationalities.
Former Japanese First Lady Abe Akie is here in Taipei promoting a cross-cultural educational event based in Japan's Nagato City, her late husband Abe Shinzo's hometown. The host today is nonprofit one-day school in Nagato. They work to allow children from around the world to experience a day at a Japanese school, allowing for cross-cultural exchanges. Abe says she hopes kids from Taiwan can experience the beauty of the city close to her heart.
This is the place where my husband's grave is located, and it is also the origin of the Abe family. That's why I sincerely hope that many people from Taiwan will come visit. I would also like the children of Taiwan to learn about the beauty of Nagato and the good qualities of Japan.
The courses include attending classes, eating a school lunch, experiencing local music and dance, all in hopes of encouraging kids to build up the courage to be themselves. As a Taiwanese person based in Japan, the school's founder, Cecilia Wanatabe Azuka, says she and the former First Lady are both passionate about sharing Taiwanese and Japanese culture.
那安波夫人就是从一开始，我们也是因为她邀请我去她家做台湾料理。 做挂包，然后做我们的佛跳墙，然后做了很多的这个菜，然后他非常喜欢。那我们这样子的往来也非常的这个密切。
Since Abe Akie lost her late husband, she has been working as an independent advocate for cultural exchanges between Taiwan and Japan. And Taiwan President Lai Ching-te personally greeted her at his inauguration ceremony last year and at a security forum in February. And now, Abe Akie is back in Taipei to support cross-cultural education experiences. The one-day school program is set to start on August 1st with 3 day-long sessions. At least 200 children from around the world, including Taiwan, will take part, learning more about each other and the neighbors they share the planet with. Klein Wang and Irene Lin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, we head to Spain to see Johnny Depp bring Captain Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies to life as he visits sick children in the hospital. Yo ho, yo ho. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.